Yeah, I saw a sign that said be merry, but I thought, I'm Mark, not marrying. I mean, after all, you have to be who you are. You can't pretend to be you're something you're not, like a squirrel in the park running around going, hey, I'm a race car driver. But up here I'm actually on Rod Lure, and I know with a name like that it can be confusing because you're probably asking yourself, is the guy an angler or a porn star? Well, let's get it straight. It's Rod Lure, not Rod Stewart. And I was on the internet the other day, and I learned there are over 200 different species of the piranha. And all this time I thought there was just one, the kind that ate your ass. But what surprised me is when I read out of that 200, one of them is classified as a vegetarian. I mean, go figure, it only eats algae and plankton. It's called the bleeding liberal. But what didn't surprise me so much is when I read where the state record here in Texas for the white crappie, it was caught on February the 14th, back in 1968 by one G.G. Woodson's of Navarro Mills Lake, Texas. Yeah, he took it home to his wife and said, see, honey, I got you a fish. Now cook it. And on February the 15th, 1968, Mrs. Woodson broke the state record for filing a divorce. She did. I don't really care too much for fly fishing because the way I look at it is just way too complicated. I mean, you almost have to be an entomologist to know which little fly or bug to use. So I went to this seminar and the guy was talking about fishing with a nymph. Then after the seminar I watched this movie about a nymph and they sure weren't fishing, I'll tell you that. But it doesn't matter what type of outdoor activity you may be involved in, whether it's camping, picnicking, hiking, or whatnot, insects or bugs can always be a problem. Take like spiders, for example. If you got a problem with them, well, they got this new product out there now. It's called Spider Be Gone. And what you do, you call this guy up, he comes out to your house and he goes, spiders be gone. They go away. But they come back as soon as he leaves. So what you got to do is take a picture of the guy and put it on a scarecrow, and I think you'll be all right. But on the other hand, mosquitoes are more commonly known to everybody, but it's a lot easier to deal with. All you got to do is get you some Listerine. Yeah, the stuff you gargle with, put it in a spray bottle, something you can squirt on stuff. You can spray it on your tent, your picnic table, even yourself. It'll keep mosquitoes away for up to 30 days, even though I think with myself I might be taking a shower sometime before 30 days, but then again, on the other hand, if you keep spraying yourself down with Listerine, I mean, what's the point? Whenever anybody says, how you doing? Well, I just tell them I don't like to brag, but yet I do like to fish. So you know I'm a liar, but do like fishermen drink because they lie or lie because they drink? I'm not really sure. The other day I was like ralphing in the river and this fish cop comes rowing up and he says, well, boy, looks to me like you've been drinking. And I said, well, sir, looks to me like you don't know anything about chumming. He didn't have a clue. Thought a jigging pig was a black cop. So the next time the ranger comes up and says, can I see your fishing license? You say, can I shoot your gun? And if he's not amused, tell him to lighten up because it is just light humor. Yeah, it's a handy little gadget there. It just clips on the bill there. And, well, if by some chance you do get pulled over tonight on the way home and Mr. Longway comes up and he shines his light in your eyes, you can look back at him and go, two can play that game. No, you walk the line. The only thing about it is I get a lot of suspicious stares out of others, and some will come up and they'll ask me what it is. Of course, whenever I tell them, they always say the same thing. What you got a light on your hat for? To which I always say the same thing, because it like comes in handy in the dark. And you too can pick one up for about $9.99, $99.99 at any retail outlet that sells cheap foreign slave labor made goods because it's no longer made in America, it's sold in America. That's right, and of course proof of that, you go into any of your finer sporting goods stores and look at all the stuff they sell. It's like there's more baits to catch fishermen than there are to catch fish. Making a choice can be difficult, so well, I keep it simple. My favorite bait is dynamite. My least favorite is the Irish jig because leprechauns won't stay on a hook. And all that singing and dancing scares off the fish, but somehow in all the confusion, I still ended up catching a state record. I believe it was the state of confusion. But I was so proud of that fish. Taxidermist did such a good job, you can't even tell where the bullet hole was. I mean, the way I see it, it's okay to shoot some of them because, face it, catch and release sounds an awful lot like the criminal justice system. And if you do throw them back, you know they're just going to go talk to the other fish. Watch out, Sonny, all that glitters is not gold. Boy, that Berkeley Vantage sure is hard to see. Or maybe they sound more like truckers on a CB. 10-4 fish face. There's a bomber upstream and there's a string attached. Copy cart breath. Well, I keep all my catch. Take them home, make them pets. Give them all the same name, dinner. Which infuriates my friends over at the animal rights group. The only thing about it is I ain't no lawyer. As a matter of fact, I barely graduated from high school, but I'm pretty sure animals don't have rights. I mean, if they did, they could vote. But then again, on the other hand, judging by the appearance of some of those I saw at the polls last time, maybe they do, but I'm telling you, it ain't right. Sir, you have no picture ID or voter registration card, but go ahead. I've seen you around before, Mr. Puxatani. Well, I got a good idea for all you pedophilers out there. Why don't you round up all them there little animals and take them into your homes and give them their rights? Yeah, we'll check back in a couple of weeks and see how that's working out. Well, the rats gnawed holes in the walls, the ducks shit everywhere, the monkey chewed my neighbor's face off, they won't speak English, and the dingo keeps getting the baby. And in spite of the trail it leaves, they still want to argue with me. Well, I don't think hunting and fishing is right. I don't think playing bridge and drinking latte down at the social club's right either. Let's make a law against that. But you kill the fish before you eat it. Well, yeah, not a bear. Go talk to one of them. Take them out for a picnic. I'm sure they'd like some of Aunt Bee's fried chicken and apple pie. But the fish would be much happier if you didn't catch them. Well, if Superman would have been German, Hitler would have won the war, and you consequently would not have the right to voice your misguided opinion. And I use that term misguided because in addition to being anti-hunting, they're naturally anti-gun. Yet you go into places where they roam freely like Boulder, Colorado. And the ones running around up there when they go out to ride their mountain bikes and smell the flowers and whatnot, they're carrying 45s on their hip, I swear. And I seen one of them, and I'm like, hey dude, what you got the gun for? Well, I need it to protect myself from the mountain lions. No, you don't. The government will take care of you. Practice what you preach. When we can solve the problems of mankind, then we'll talk to the animals, Dr. Doolittle. And of course, speaking of the problems of mankind, you know that's womankind. I mean, you know what they say, you give a man a fish, you give him something to eat. You give him a fishing pole and an excuse to drink beer in a boat. But if the woman gives the man a fishing pole, she's just trying to get him out of the house. And I have had roundabout experience with that. I know my last girlfriend, I got this really good idea. I thought I wanted to get her involved and make her feel like she's a part of things. So I took her out with me, and I let her run the boat. She starts yelling and screaming, "Where's the brakes?" And I'm like, that's awful funny. You don't seem to worry about them in the car. Yeah, she threw me back for a bigger one. So, ladies, I'm free swimming and off the hook. I don't care what you look like. If you like to fish, you could be a keeper, provided you're legal size, if you get my drift. I mean, there are two things about women I know to be a fact. First of all, you don't need a clever pickup line if you got a good gaff. And a boat is better than a woman because you can't get the boat pregnant. Don't ask me how I know that, but it's true. I mean, if my boat ever come up and said we're going to have a little boat, the first thing I'd say is, hold it right there, hold it, let me see the title. Oh, well, okay, so does it like come with a trailer? But on the other hand, I'm pretty safe in that respect because my boat is about like being fixed. It's one of those old green aluminum John boats. It's got a 1958 Johnson Seahorse on the back. Don't go very fast, but it gets me around, and it gives me time to watch other boaters, and I notice how other boaters are watching each other, kind of like people with antique cars and stuff. And of course, whenever somebody out there sees somebody with a boat and a motor like theirs, they see somebody like themselves. They can relate to that. They smile and they wave. Whenever I see somebody with a boat and a motor like mine, I watch where they went because I see parts. I know the last time I ran into that situation, when I was over at that guy's house, he was over at mine, so we pretty much broke even on that deal. But today I do a lot of fishing out of a canoe. I got this old 1962 Aerocraft that, well, it belonged to my dad. He bought it when I was a little kid. He used to take me and my brother out in it when we were real little. And years later, when he got a bass boat, he decided he didn't need it anymore, so he gave it to me. Now, a couple months ago, he gets some notion that he wants me to take him out fishing in it like he used to do us when we were little. But the only thing about it is, at the age of 78, Dad's balance is not what it used to be. And from the time he got in till the time I got him out, every time he moved, he was rocking us around, almost tipped us over, I don't know how many different times. And every time he did, he's yelling at me like it's my fault. What are you doing back there? Don't you know how to paddle this thing? I thought I taught you how to operate a canoe. Well, after about 10 minutes of that, I realized I had gone a full circle in life because now it's me telling him to sit still and be quiet. Yeah. Now, my hat is totally off to the noodlers. And you know what I'm talking about? The guys that without scuba gear will dive underneath the water and grab these big monster catfish with their bare hands. It's totally phenomenal, but I can't decide if they're like, just really bored or too cheap to buy a fishing pole. I know in the state of Kansas it's referred to as hand fishing, and you have to buy a special permit in addition to your fishing license to hand fish in the state of Kansas. Well, let me tell you something. Anybody crazy enough to do that is not going to buy anything. So how long can you hold your breath, Mr. Game Warden? Yeah, I know. I told that joke a couple weeks ago, and there was a game warden in the audience. He says, "We got scuba gear." I said, "Pussy." It's just an example of how thrown off our lawmakers are on the laws they make. Like, for example, here in the state of Texas, they have a law that states it is illegal to take game animals with a BB gun or pellet rifle. But you can take non-game animals with a BB gun or pellet rifle. And then they give you a list of all the non-game animals so you know which ones you can shoot. Halfway down on the list it says mountain lion. So yeah, if you thought you saw a putty tag, go for it, Bubba. But the one that really irritates me is this deal they got. It's called the HIP program, Harvest Informational Program. And well, what I do is when I go to get my fishing license, I buy the Super Combo, which is a hunting and fishing together as one. So that way when the ranger says, "Can I see your fishing license?" I hand it to him and say, "See, and I can even shoot stuff with this." But as I'm getting the license, I hand the guy my driver's license and all that stuff, and he's putting the information in the computer, and I'm sitting there playing with the pencils on the counter. And he said, "Sir, how many ducks did you kill last year?" Well, it goes in one ear and out the other because I don't hunt ducks. I'm playing with the pencils on the counter. He says again, "Sir, how many ducks did you kill last year?" I didn't pay any attention. Third time he's a little loud, he's agitated. Sir, how many ducks did you kill last year?" I said, "Oh, I don't hunt ducks." Go back to playing with the pencils. Now he's really angry. "Sir," I said, "how many ducks did you kill last year?" I said, "I don't hunt ducks." Again we go through it like, who's on first? Finally, I'm like, "Sir, if I don't hunt ducks, what does that tell you?" He said, "Well, sir, this is the Harvest Informational Program. You have to answer that question in a numerical fashion. I'm going to ask you one more time, how many ducks did you kill last year?" "Oh, okay, I get it. 0, as in the whole number 0, none." Then he looks at me and says, "Now, how many do you intend to kill this year?" I said, "All of them. Every single stinking one of them." And that's a fact. Now, I got to tell you another story. It's a fact here. Let me jump out of the road with this one. It's a true story. When I was growing up as a kid, we had this cat named Tonker Cat. And Tonker was kind of unusual in the aspect that it's like she had ESP or something. The cat always knew ahead of time when we were going to go fishing and would be in the boat waiting on us. Don't know how she knew. We never told her. We tried whispering. We tried spelling. We tried everything. The cat was always there. This one day we're out it's really a hot August day. The sun's beating down. It's really like 100 degrees. It's miserable. Tonker's laying in the front of the boat like she normally does, and she sort of rolls over and she starts looking at the minnow bucket. She's looking at it a little longer. Next thing you know, she's giving it this real spooky, angry look. Then she gets up, she starts walking around the minnow bucket and walking around it. Does this for a couple of minutes, then jumps on top of the minnow bucket, takes her claws, and she's just like biting and ripping, trying to tear it apart. But it's one of those old two-piece buckets, those two-piece metal ones, so it's pretty much to no avail, and after a few minutes her paws are all broken off, they're all bloody. She crawls back in the front of the boat, lays down and starts making this awful noise, and I mean, it scared me so bad I didn't know what to do. I said, "Dad, what's wrong with Tonker Cat?" He said, "Son, you don't know?" I said, "Of course I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking." He said, "Would too, you're a kid." Then I'll never forget, he looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "Son, she's got minnow paws." Minnow paws. And season's greetings, back to Jeremy Bankhead.